Sairam. I remember a funny episode involving my classmate when we both were students studying our post-graduation in the Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. Now this brother of mine, this boy, got into form with Swami. What does it mean to get into form? Form is a term that is borrowed from sports, team sport or individual sport, whether it's cricket, soccer or rugby or badminton or table tennis, anything. Where when a sports person is in form, he or she can do nothing wrong. It's a purple patch where whatever they do goes right and they get success after success, victory after victory. But then this is a temporary phase. It sometimes lasts for a few days or a few weeks or a few months, but it is not permanent. That is why there is a saying, form is temporary, class is permanent. A sports person strives to achieve class, which is permanent. In the same way, even when it comes to form with Swami, it would be that temporary period where Swami showers you with lot of love and attention. For God knows why. The only reason I know why is because it is good for the soul, it is good for the evolution of that being, because that is the reason why Swami does everything. Now some students would never get into form. Some would get into form for few days, some for a few weeks, some would be in form for a few years. But you never knew when the form would be given, when the form would be taken away. And this was the period in this boy's life when he was in form. A purple patch where he could get a chance to interact with Swami on a daily basis, and he was also getting many interviews with Swami. So now, when he had gone in for one of the interviews, he came out with a shell-shocked face. And we wondered what had happened. And he narrated how Swami had told him, I know you are watching this television program, don't think I am not seeing you, I am not knowing about you. Now because he was in form, he would come and go from the mandir as he wanted. None of his teachers stopped him or put him under the shackles of the same discipline that we all were under. Because who knows, maybe Swami told him to come early, maybe Swami told him to stay on. Now exploiting this loophole, this boy used to go to his grandmother's home. In that room he would watch the television for some of his favorite programs. And Swami had told him, you think I'm not watching? When you are seeing these programs, see what's there on the wall. So I asked him, what is there on the wall? When he went to his grandmother's home again, he saw that on the wall there was a calendar in which there was Swami's photograph. So Swami was watching him doing this, watching him watching television from the photograph. So what did this boy do after that? He confessed, this is the funny part, because he said, I could not stop myself, refrain myself from watching the television program, though Swami had said so. So I continued to watch, but this time I was careful. I went and immediately removed that calendar down from the wall. Dear brothers and sisters, jokes aside, this incident clearly indicates that a photograph is not just a photograph. A picture of Swami is not just a picture of Swami. It is Swami. That is why it is said, don't treat God like a picture. Treat a picture like God and it will come true. Going forward, I would like to share two more beautiful episodes which prove beyond doubt that every time we pray to a photograph of Swami, that we stand in front of a photograph of Swami, Swami is watching us, Swami is listening to us, Swami is responding to us. My classmates episode was from the early 2000s. Let me take you back in time to 1993 when India opened up its economy. Liberalization, globalization were welcomed, and therefore many worldwide and global brands made their entry into our country, India. This was the time even in the media field, the Star TV network came in. And for the first time in our lives, we saw that television programming could go on for 24 hours. Before that, our television had only 2 channels, and these channels would run for maximum about 12 hours a day. We never thought that 24-hour programming could happen. And this happened, and not just this. There were separate channels for sports, separate channels for cartoons, separate channels for movies. Oh my God! I think this is something that the present day generation that has come up on OTT platforms will not be able to appreciate so much, but it was such a binge watching opportunity for all of us. That was the time I got introduced to WWF, or Worldwide Wrestling, which is a freestyle kind of wrestling, which is now I know is just an act that is put up for all of us, but I was addicted to it. And not just me, all our friends in class, in school, in our building where we stayed, all of us would discuss these players from the World Wrestling Federation, and we had our favorites and we would discuss who should fight whom, and this was a sport that we loved watching. But my mother did not like the fact that a 5th grader or a 6th grader is enjoying this violent sport. So she banned me from watching it at home. We were staying back then in Bombay, which is today called Mumbai. And every day when I returned back from school, I would see in the TV guide that there was WWF wrestling program, but my mother has stopped me from watching it. What to do? One day I got an opportunity. My mother had gone to take some afternoon rest. She was in her siesta and it was 2:30 in the afternoon, the correct time when this program will come on television. So I slowly closed the bedroom door so that my mother doesn't hear. Then I went and put on the main switch of the television and then moved the slider for the volume to the 0. We didn't have even remotes back then. We had to do it on the television. We had to press buttons on the television to change channels and move a slider on the TV to increase and decrease the volume. So I moved the slider to 0 so that when I switch on the television, there is no sound emanating. I decided to watch it in mute. And then as I went to press the power on button, I was looking, my eyes were on the screen and my hand, which knew by muscle memory where that button is, went to switch on that button, and thup, something hit my hand and I wondered what it was. I withdrew back in shock and I looked, and on the floor there was a big marigold flower. This marigold flower had been placed on top of a Swami's picture, and Swami had dropped that exactly at that moment, precisely on my hand. And I stood scared. Swami was there looking at me and he seemed to be smiling, but I felt that it was such a stern look, telling me that you think I don't know you're violating what your mother told you. So I went and sat back on the sofa, continued to do my studies and decided not to watch wrestling. When my mother woke up, I went to her, hugged her, and I told her what had happened and how I had got spooked by Swami. She just smiled and she hugged me back. But well, after that, I never disobeyed my mother when it came to watching wrestling. Whenever I wanted to watch, I requested her, pleaded with her and watched for a few minutes. But that was Swami showing his presence to me through the photographs. And ever since then, anytime I feel anything, anytime I feel like communicating with Swami, I go to Swami's photograph and talk to him, share with him, open up, cry in front of him, express my anger, express my excitement, express my joy. Because I know that though it appears like a photograph, it is Swami. Every word I speak, he is listening. Every thought I think, he is knowing. And he is showering his blessings and grace and showing his presence every moment. Let me quickly share another beautiful experience that shows Swami responding through photographs from the experience of my dear teacher and mentor, Dr. T. Ravi Kumar, whom I call as Ravi Kumar Sir. Now, the way Ravi Kumar Sir's family came to Swami is a beautiful experience. With great details and wonderful humor, Sir narrates it. But let me just tell it briefly. His father had been diagnosed with cancer, and after 25 surgeries and operations, the doctor had just given him few days to live. Swami, with just one statement, your cancer is cancelled, cancelled that cancer. And innumerable times, Ravi Kumar Sir has narrated this episode in Swami's presence. On one occasion, when he narrated this, he just said, and that is how our family came to Swami in 1968. Swami immediately corrected him and said, not 1968. I have been taking care of you from 1963. Now, this story or this experience, Ravi Kumar Sir has narrated so many times that even if you wake him up in the middle of the night in his sleep, he will be able to narrate it without missing any of the details, no comma and full stop also missed. And here Swami is making a difference of 5 years. But then Ravi Kumar sir knew, and he knows that whatever Swami says is the absolute truth. It is just that our intellect or our minds are dull and are not able to comprehend. So he just bowed down to Swami and folded his hands and said, "Yes, Swami." And then Swami said, "Ravi, do you remember the day your mother passed away?" Now, Ravi Kumar sir lost his mother at a very young age when he was not even 5 years old. So he said, "Yes, Swami, I remember it vividly." "What do you remember?" "Swami, I remember my mother's body. I remember the sari that she was draped in. I remember everybody around crying. But I also remember that I was just frolicking about, running about, a little child that I was." Swami said, "Do you remember what happened that evening?" Now Ravi Kumar sir was stumped. He did not know in particular what Swami was referring to. He said, "Swami, all that I remember I've already shared." Then Swami said, "Your cousin brother, what did he tell you?" And then Ravi Kumar sir remembered that his cousin, who was a few months elder to him, came and told him that your mother will now be taken in a procession. Now when that Ravi Kumar sir heard, he became very happy, because in his mind were temple processions that used to happen often near his home. In these temple processions, there would be a lot of celebration, there would be a lot of joy, there would be a band playing, there would be flowers, there would be fireworks. It was a joyous affair. So he was very happy. But then the cousin said, "There is only one problem though. They will take her in a procession, but they will not bring her back ever again." And then the little child, who was just 4 years and a few months, understood the gravity of the situation, and sorrow hit him with such force that he began to cry, and he was inconsolable. And he remembered this when Swami said, "Do you remember your cousin?" And then Swami went on to say that at that time, an aunt of yours took you to her home, which was opposite to your home. And there, as you entered the home, you saw a photograph. Ravi Kumar sir had seen Swami's photograph, and he had asked his aunt, "Who is this Mami?" In Tamil, Mami means aunt. So he had asked, "Who is this aunt?" And that aunt had replied, "This is not Mami, this is Swami. This is God. You pray to him and he will take care of you." And then Swami said, "Ravi, ever since that day, I have been taking care of you." Dear brothers and sisters, there is a reason why we keep Swami's photographs all around our home. There is a reason why we keep Swami's photograph on our work desk, why we make him our computer screensaver, our phone's wallpaper. There is a reason why we keep a picture of him in our wallet. Because for us who have not yet transcended the body and the mind, we need objects of faith, and a photograph, a picture of Swami is definitely a beautiful way to connect with him instantly. And as I said, more than one occasion, through more than one experience, Swami has shown clearly that any prayer made in front of his picture, anything that is spoken or thought in front of his picture, reaches him, and he responds. He responds instantaneously or after a while as the need is. In conclusion, let us always treat every picture and photo of Swami as Swami. And let us not bring down Swami to a level of a picture. Treat the picture as God, not God as a picture. Dear Swami, may we do this, and may we cherish and treasure you in our hearts. May the love that we have for you in our hearts keep growing stronger every passing moment. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.